7,000-year cycle. Since the earliest times, Christians have believed in a 7,000-year time period, which follows the pattern of 7 days of creation in the book of Genesis. 6 days of work, followed by 1 day of rest. The key to understanding this is in both the Psalms and in 2 Peter. Psalm 90 verse 4 says, "For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night." 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 8 says, "But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that 1 day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day." So there's a pattern here: 7 days of creation and 7,000 years of human history. Day 1 of creation was when God created the light and created earth. Day 2, he created water above and below the firmament. Day 3, he created dry land and plants. Day 4, the celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets. Day 5, flying creatures and sea creatures. Day 6, animals and Adam and Eve. And on day 7, he rested. Similarly, there are 7,000 years of history. The first 1,000 years are really the time of Adam. Adam lived until the age of 930, and this age really lasted until the birth of Noah. Noah lived until the age of 950, and this age lasted up until the birth of Abraham. The next 1,000 years were from the birth of Abraham to the completion of Solomon's temple. The following 1,000 years were from the temple to the baptism of Jesus. The following 1,000 years were the first 1,000 years of Christianity, which lasted until the Great Schism between Catholic and Orthodox. And the next 1,000 years were the second 1,000 years of Christianity, leaving one final 1,000 years to go, which are the millennial rest. This is the 1,000-year period when Jesus will return to the earth and rule in person from Jerusalem. So the following are some of the sources from the early church's teaching of this doctrine. First of all, Irenaeus. As we've seen, from a prophetic point of view, 1 day is 1,000 years. From the time of Adam, there will be 6,000 years, followed by 1,000 years of rest. The early church fathers believed this. Irenaeus, who lived from about 125 to 202 AD, was Bishop of Lugdunum in Gaul, which is now Lyon, France. Irenaeus was born in Smyrna in Asia Minor, where he studied under Bishop Polycarp, who in turn had been a disciple of the Apostle John. So he was only 2 generations away from John, the disciple of Jesus. In his work Against Heresies, Book 5, Chapter 8, Paragraph 3, Irenaeus said the following: "For in as many days as this world was made, in so many 1,000 years shall it be concluded. And for this reason the scripture says, Thus the heaven and the earth were finished, and all their adornment. And God brought to conclusion upon the 6th day the works that he had made. And God rested upon the 7th day from all his works." Genesis chapter 2 verse 2. This is an account of the things formerly created, as also it is a prophecy of what is to come. "For the day of the Lord is as 1,000 years." 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 8. In 6 days created things were completed. It is evident, therefore, that they will come to an end at the 6th 1,000 year. Another source from which we get the teaching of the 7,000-year cycle is the Epistle of Barnabas. There is much discussion over who wrote this epistle. Some attribute it to Barnabas of the book of Acts, who was a companion of the Apostle Paul. Others doubt this. However, there is general agreement that whoever wrote it, it was written sometime between 70 AD and 132 AD. Consequently, it demonstrates that the teaching of the 7,000-year cycle was part of church teaching right from the start. In chapter 15, verses 4 to 5, the epistle says the following from the J.B. Lightfoot translation. Give heed, children, what this meaneth. He ended in 6 days. He meaneth this, that in 6,000 years the Lord shall bring all things to an end. For the day with him signifieth 1,000 years. And this he himself beareth with me witness, saying, Behold, the day of the Lord shall be as 1,000 years. Therefore, children, in 6 days, that is, in 6,000 years, everything shall come to an end. Verse 5, And he rested on the 7th day. This he meaneth, when his Son shall come, and shall abolish the time of the lawless one, and shall judge the ungodly, and shall change the sun and the moon and the stars. Then shall he truly rest on the 7th day. The final person I want to mention is Hippolytus. Hippolytus of Rome was an early Christian theologian who lived between 170 and 235 AD. His commentary on the book of Daniel is the oldest surviving Christian commentary on Scripture. The following is from fragment 2 of his commentary on Daniel, paragraph 4. And 6,000 years must needs be accomplished in order that the Sabbath may come, the rest, the holy day on which God rested from all his works. For the Sabbath is the type and emblem of the future kingdom of the saints, when they shall reign with Christ, when he comes from heaven, as John says in his Apocalypse. For a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. Since then, in 6 days, God made all things. It follows that 6,000 years must be fulfilled. And they are not yet fulfilled, as John says. 5 are fallen, one is, that is the 6th. The other is not yet come. There's many other teachers as well, apart from these 3, who taught the same thing. And they make the same point about the 6,000 years of history followed by 1,000 years of rest. Among them, Commodianus, Victorinus, Methodius, and Lactantius. I got this list from Ken Johnson's book, The End Times by the Ancient Church Fathers. This would be a useful source of reading if you want to follow the subject up. If you're interested in Bible prophecy, you can find more information at prophecy-workshop.com. Thank you for listening.